work world confusing, congested? Are you just trying to find your way? There must be a light at the end of this tunnel. Well, there's a way to find your calling, to find that job you want and deserve, when someone will come up to you and say, "You're hired." Hi, I'm Steve Piazzale, a career and life coach, and welcome to Your Hired, a show about jobs and careers in which we answer questions such as, how do I find work that makes me come alive? How do I get that job I want and deserve? How do I take performance to the next level and get promoted? We're going to answer those questions and many more by having on the show knowledgeable, lively guests, so we certainly have one today. Before I introduce him, though, I'd like to invite you to check out my website where you'll find the 12 keys to getting a great job. You can sign up for my free career newsletter there, and you can find out about the career coaching I do. And essentially what I do is work with people one-on-one to help them get unstuck and build momentum towards achieving their goals faster than they would on their own. This usually ends up saving time, money, and a whole lot of stress, plus landing them in a job that's a good fit. If you want to find out more about that, please go to www.bayareacareercoach.com. That's www.bayareacareercoach.com. Well, we're really pleased to have Raj Setty with us today. He's an entrepreneur, he is an author, he is a lecturer, he is many, many things. He's a wonderful guest. We had him on a couple of years ago and it was just a fantastic show. He has a new book coming out called Upbeat, How to Be Upbeat in a Down Economy, which is something we could all use to hear about. It will discuss some of the traps we can fall into and how we use discipline and connections with people and other means to get us out of the trap. Welcome to the show, Raj Setty.
Nice to be here. Thank you,
welcome
Steve.
back.
Thank you.
Raj, for those that didn't see that show 2 years ago that you're on, tell us what you do and a little bit of the path you took to getting there.
Got it. So I do three things. I do a few more things, but three of them are important, I guess. I'm an entrepreneur. I help people build companies. I'm involved in about 5 companies, either as an operating executive or as a board member or as an advisor or in some combination as an investor. And then I write books. I have written since I was 13. My first book was published when I was 13 years old. 5 other books were published before I was 16, and then my last book was published in 2005, and the next book is coming out in a few weeks. And I'm also a speaker. I speak in conferences, in companies and everything.
And your first book was even a mystery or crime book or what, something like that?
It was a murder mystery.
It was a murder mystery?
Yeah. So basically, I started reading very early. I started reading books when I was about 4 years old, and I read about 700 of them before I was 9. So it was so much that, I thought I can write my own book. So when I was 10, I started writing one. And by the time I was 11, I finished it. And then I thought, hey, it takes a year to write a book. Publishing should be very easy. So I should just get it done. And I was rejected about 160 times before I was published when I was 13.
Wow, that's a fantastic story. So tell me about the book. I mean, what's the background of it? What was your thinking? Why this book at this particular time?
Yeah. So I wrote this book when I was building my first company when it was in 2000. Started the company, I bootstrapped it, and then before that I had lived in 5 different countries: Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, France and Belgium. And I came here, and a couple of years later I started the company, and they said there is a recession happening. And since it was bootstrapped, I was so busy and I didn't have time to look at the recession. I said, whatever is happening, I have my own problems. Let me deal with it.
Okay.
And the recession can wait, or if it can continue to happen, but I'm not going to participate in it. So the company grew 250% year over year. I did very well. And then I started documenting what I was going through, and I thought this will be a great book for people who are, if ever there was another recession. And by the time I finished the book, the recession was over. So I packed it and kept it. And we have another one now. I reopened it, and most of what I had written was true. now. So I updated the book and I said the timing is right for this new book.
And you also have another excellent book called Beyond Code,
Yes,
right? And
yes.
do you want to just give the audience just a gist of what that one is? Just, and then we'll get back to this.
Definitely. Beyond Code, I wrote it mostly for technology professionals who keep chasing after the new technology, what's the latest, greatest, and everything. And they do that mainly because, the hard technologies get a premium. And by the time they become an expert, there is an oversupply of those skills. And they have to go after another hard technology because that's the new hard premium stuff. Mm-hmm. So while they're chasing this technology, the life is passing away. And then they realize that when they are about 40, they have not built long-term relationships, and then they have not built a personal brand, and it starts affecting them. So Beyond Code is everything that somebody should do beyond their normal day-to-day activities.
Okay,
kind of
so we have to encourage them to get that book as well, because it's a different topic. All right.
I should say that it's available for free for download. Its complete book is free.
Oh, okay. And we are showing your website, so if they want to get it, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So we talked about this before. What's there to be upbeat in this down economy? You might be the only person that's upbeat, at least on the surface of it.
Actually, people ask me this question all the time, and they said, "Why upbeat? Why now?" So I always tell them, should I write a book called Downbeat? Because it's like an obvious thing, everybody is already down. And jokes apart, why I think that this is the right time to be upbeat is because really big growth happens when there are a lot of constraints. And I found that when I was building my last company, there were constraints all over. It was like everybody was trying to sell everything to everyone, and nobody was buying anything from anyone. That was the kind of rule. And you needed extreme creativity. And it's almost like, if I can give an analogy, so think of it like you are not a runner, and you don't even go for a walk, and you are asked to run a marathon. And you suddenly now have to get prepared, and you know that you can't get prepared tomorrow. So you need at least a few months of preparation and everything. But imagine trying to run a marathon when you are not feeling well, or if you are under the weather or something. So the same situation is happening now. People who have never run a marathon are now faced with a job loss, or there is a credit crisis and those kinds of things. They are not given a choice whether you want to run a marathon or not. They have to run a marathon. It would be better if they are less stressed, and if they are more optimistic and more wanting to do something in this, that they can finish this marathon, or at least give it a good try.
Do you think almost like getting a shock from reality and what happened in the market can spur people to head in a direction that's more consistent about connecting with people and the self-brand and that sort of thing? Do you think it might push them in that direction?
Totally. I think whatever they do in this recession, it's almost like an insurance policy for the next recession, because it's going to come. It's not like, hey, this is the last recession, it's over kind of thing. It's a cycle, and markets will go up and markets will go down. Markets will go up and they go down. So if you think about it, no recession is infinite. And the way people behave is that, we are stuck in this forever, kind of thing. So we say that if your career spans across 40 years typically, and if somebody says, how long will this recession last? Nobody knows, but it's not going to be 40 years. We all know that. So we take that into stride and say, the next few years, how I will behave will shape the rest of my career. Once you start looking at it that way, you don't take shortcuts, you don't do some stupid things, you just look at it in a manner that will be for the long haul.